want to send out an email. All right, I've got 7 p.m. so I'm going to get started. We may have a few stragglers wander in here, but we'll address that as they pop on. I don't think they'll miss too much other than some announcements. Welcome everybody to tonight's April monthly meeting. Look, I can't even hardly say it without getting the words in front of my face here, but I want to welcome all of our members and especially our new members and any guests that might be here. If you are a new member or guest, take yourself off mute and say hi to everybody and introduce yourself or where you're from. I'll give you a few minutes here.
Yeah, this is Kenny Herman out in Independence, Missouri. I think some of you over there know who I am and what a pain in the butt I can be at times, but that's okay. I sent Kevin an email requesting if it was all right to visit your Zoom meetings. Looking forward to possibly joining the club and when you get back to in-house meetings.
I can't wait for that day, Kenny. I appreciate you popping on and you know joining us on the Teams meetings. That's actually going to be one of our discussion points in the announcements here is how we're going to get started back into that process, and I think it'll be a hybrid for a little bit before we get fully functioning as a everybody meeting at the club. But thanks for coming in tonight, Kenny. I appreciate it and welcome. Hopefully you'll get something out of the meeting. If nothing else, you'll learn a little bit more about our club.
I was a member there many years ago, back when you guys were on the Kansas side,
okay.
In the basement of a building.
Yeah, over there by the train tracks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's been probably 20 years ago. No. 12, 13 years ago. I think when I very first joined, they were still over there, and that year they moved to our shop where we're at today.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Well, thank you.
Let's see. I'll move on through the announcements. Oh, tonight's agenda, we'll go through some announcements, and actually we've got a few announcements tonight, which is a good sign in the sense that things are starting to break open. We're getting some opportunities that we haven't had for over a year now. We'll go after the announcements, we'll get into a demo and discussion on laser engravers. And then after the presentation tonight, we'll get into the challenge projects, which was the challenge for last month was to incorporate metal into your wood turning. So we'll see what we've got on the challenge. And then after that, we'll follow that up with just general show and tell of different projects and things that people have made over the last month or so. All right. Jumping into the announcements, let's see. Jack, I think you might have skipped the first one. There we go. Open Shop is continuing in April. The number of people has still been pretty light, but that's in some senses, that's a good thing. We have opted to not use the sign up genius sheet anymore, but we are asking that everybody please add their name to the sign up sheet on the door when you come in, just as a way of tracking who has been in the shop and who was there on what day. The shop is looking pretty clean, but do your part of keeping it clean and looking organized. That would be great. Mark Inman has a situation coming up in the future where he's not going to be able to be the opener on the 4th Wednesday of the month. So please, if any of our members would want to consider filling that and being an opener on that Wednesday night, let us know, let the board know, contact anybody and let us know. And if we can't find somebody for that night, we may have to drop that night off of the calendar, which right now, the Wednesday nights, we've got 3 of the 4 typical Wednesday nights of a month. We may have to go back to 2. For right now, I think Anthony Harris has been willing to kind of cover for the openers on the evening openings. So he'll probably continue to do that. But we do need some more openers if anybody has a consideration or would like to consider being an opener for the next year. So let us know. We like to pair them up so that we have somebody to fall back on if you can't make it for some reason. Effie has actually volunteered and found somebody to help him with the Sunday shop opening. Effie, I didn't have it written down on what day. I know it's Sunday, the day you're going to start or what Sunday of the month, if you could tell us that and what time.
It's on the 18th. That will be the first one. It's the 3rd Sunday of the month from 9 to noon. We'll start with that.
Okay. So 3rd Sunday of the month is now going to have an open shop from 9 to noon. And we'll start there and then see how that works out. And I hope we get a few people showing up, Effie. And if you need some help, let us know. Our club monthly rent has increased by 22.5% for the next year and will continue to increase 3% per year for the 3-year lease that we're negotiated into right now. 22.5% seems pretty extreme, but given that the landlord really hit the woodworkers with a bigger increase of their monthly rent, I think we came out of that kind of shiny in the sense of where we ended up. Obviously, we had anticipated the increase and was glad to see it wasn't as bad as we had at one time thought. So we will continue to find ways to pull in extra dollars for the club to cover that rent increase and keep our balance in a safe place so that we're good for the next couple of years. Anthony Harris is going to be holding a box turning class in April. He said he was going to start it probably the Sunday following Effie's first Sunday opening. So if Effie was opening on the 18th, the Sunday the 18th, then that would make it April the 25th is I think when Anthony was looking at that. He hadn't decided at this time whether it was going to be a 1 or 2 week class, but it's going to be on box turning. So it will be a good class for both the skilled and unskilled turners. I think you can learn to turn boxes from the start. So, and you never really finish or you're never a professional at boxes. There's always things to learn. So contact Anthony or let him know if you've got an interest. I'm sure there will be a sign up on the website and the information will be coming out in an email once we get the details worked out there. We've got a couple of display cases that set out in the Woodworkers Guild area. Over time, they get dusty, they get disorganized, they look a little shabby. We're going to try to improve that. Sean McMahon's going to coordinate kind of a quarterly rotation and cleanup of those, and we're going to get some signage. The dates that we've set so far is 4/18, so the 18th is Sunday. Actually, that's the same Sunday that Effie's going to be having his first open shop. 7/18 and 10/17. And if you would like to volunteer to help, it's just basically some cleaning, organizing, maybe getting some items out of one case and displaying them nicely in that case. Any help would be appreciated. Either show up that day or let Sean know if you've got any questions about that. I am planning on sending out an email. I should have had it out already and I just haven't gotten it done, but I'm going to send out an email getting members' input on when everybody is going to be comfortable attending an in-person meeting. Your opinion matters. I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible, where maybe you just reply with A, B, C, or D on the options that I'll set out there. But do know that when we do start going back to the in-person meetings, we are going to try to keep an avenue available for those of you that aren't comfortable or can't attend, where you can come in on a Teams window. I'm not sure exactly how we'll do it, and we'll have to do a little bit of investigating, but we're going to give the people that can't come in or don't want to come in person an opportunity to at least attend the meetings and have some input and be able to ask questions, versus just being able to see it after the fact on the YouTube channel. So your opinion matters. Please reply once that email, if you see it, regarding, you know, I honestly want you to tell me what you're comfortable with. I think opinions differ on this, and I want to know what the club as a whole is thinking. All right, Jack, if you could hit that next one. Oh, we are actually teaming up with the other wood turning clubs in the area to bring in professional wood turner Craig Timmerman on April 20th at 7 p.m. He's going to have a live stream demonstration of the Taurus vase that's pictured there. Very interesting looking item, and something I'm sure that'll be interesting to see how that is accomplished. We are asking a $10 donation if you'd like to attend, help pay for the Turner. And if you need, go to the website, and it'll have a link where you can pay via PayPal. I'd like to see everybody support this. I want it to be, and I'm not looking for a money maker, but I do want to break even when we bring in these professional turners. The live stream is a lot more economically feasible for us. So please, if you can attend, throw a $10 donation and give us input. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, we need to hear those things so that we know what to correct or what worked well for future reference.
Chris, one more thing on this subject. I was looking back at the paperwork, and he does record his session with us and makes it available to us on his private side of his YouTube channel.
Okay. And
For
will
the paying members, of course.
That's what I was going to say, Mike. That's the ones that would be donating would have that link to be able to revisit that presentation.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. So again, I'd like to, I'd like to see us get the members there and show the support to the club and wood turning as a whole, just to keep the professional turners coming our way. Okay, Jack, you can go on. Let's see. Mark Inman has coordinated a display. Mark Inman helped us find a event that we can participate in this year. It's a Mayfair event held in Holt, Missouri, and it's actually a event that helps out the Northland Therapeutic Writing Center. So it's got a good purpose behind it. And what we'll be doing is we'll be setting up a tent and one or two lathes and demonstrating wood turning. We'll have some items out there for sale. If you are interested in helping that day, I think we've got about 4 or 5 volunteers, but we could certainly use more. Let Sean McMahon or Mark Inman know, and they'll let you know the schedule of events. I think from what I'd seen, we're going to meet at the shop that morning about 7 a.m. and leave. I think the Mayfair runs from 10 to 4, so it's a one-day event. Take the lathes out, set them up, set the tent up, do a little demo, load it all up, come back, put it back in the shop. Be a long day, but it'll be a fun day. So please, if you can, either help volunteer or actually just show up at the event. It's maybe 30 minutes to an hour out, but would be a fun event to join, and probably very easy to stay social distance as necessary. Just a reminder to check out the Etsy site, Hand Turn KC. There's been several new items that have been added. You always have the opportunity to donate a turned item to support the club. And thanks to everybody that's donated an item so far. Big thanks to Ann for managing the site. She's really got some nice photos in there. She takes time to get the right statements about the products out there, and then manages getting things sent out and priced and everything. So thanks, Ann, for your help there. I didn't have a slide on it, but also wanted just to remind everybody that KCWT website is a great place if you need information, or if you're wondering about dates. You can usually find it on the website, and the column on the left-hand side, I find all kinds of information there. So that's where I usually navigate to first. Oh, I think I mentioned this last month, and everybody that was probably planning on the AAW symposium already knows that it's going to be a virtual event again this year. It is not going to be held in Omaha as it had been planned. So make your schedule ready for a virtual event again. The KCWT board is considering a new member mentoring program. This is something that I was suggesting, and I'll be trying to work out some details, but with the light participation in open shop activities, we don't have the group of people that we used to be and have just hanging around in the open shop and available for new members to go ask questions, or maybe to grab and get them started on a machine or something. And I want to find a way to encourage the new members and get them excited and intrigued. And so I'm going to be trying to find a way to get a list of members that would be willing to kind of mentor a new member into wood turning. Details can be worked out between the participants. They wouldn't always have to be a in-person type thing. It might be a Teams meeting or a phone call to just discuss some ideas or techniques. So I'll try to put something together and get an email out there. But what I'm looking for are members that would be comfortable maybe a couple of times a month getting together, or at least getting in contact with a new member in order to kind of discuss lathe items. Another item that Mark Inman has coordinated for us this year was a display of some wood art at the, let's see, Mid-Continent Public Library. It's the Woodneath branch on Flintlock Road in Kansas City, Mo. We've got a display case there where we've got a 3-month rotation of items that are in there right now. They look great. It's great exposure to our club, to the communities. So as I understand, we may have opportunity to kind of keep a 3-month rotation going, but more information on that in the future. Just wanted you to know that it's there. If anybody's out that way and wants to go check it out, please do. Thanks, Mark, for getting that set up.
We used to do that at the Independence Group at a different mid-continent, and it's amazing how many people stop and look and wonder, how did they do that? And they called and even asked us how we did that.
And that's good. That's the kind of community intrigue we want to get people sparked, and maybe get new members that way too. So it's great to have those opportunities, and I appreciate Mark for searching it out. Let's see, we're through our announcements now, other than our silent art auction piece for this month that is up is Mike Thomas's half and half cherry, spalted cherry bowl. Mike, did you put the name half and half on this bowl?
I had to find my unmute button. Your question again was, did I put half and half in there?
Yes.
No.
Or did I accidentally carry that name? That's why I'm asking, because I might have accidentally carried that name over from a description on something else, and that's what I wasn't.
The reason is I call it half and half is because I opened up this piece of wood and there was no indication that there was any spalting or anything going on inside of it. And as I was turning it, I saw about half of it was spalted, and the other half, was just normal grain pattern. So I called it half and half.
Okay, good. Well, I was kept going. Where's that name come from? It didn't. I couldn't fit it to the bowl, but that makes sense. Beautiful bowl. We're taking bids on this bowl until this Friday, April 16th, and then we'll roll into the May silent art auction piece, and that will be a segmented piece from Kevin Neelley, figured walnut and yellow heart segmented base, hand signed. Another beautiful piece from Kevin. The bidding starts on that piece Friday. Starts this Saturday and will go until Friday, May 14th. So here's your opportunity to have a one-of-a-kind Kevin Neelley segmented vase. Okay, that gets us through all my announcements. Now I get to turn it over to Effie. He's got a short video tonight, and he has got it to run along the lines of what we're going to be demonstrating or listening about tonight. So Effie, I'll let you take that over.
Can you see that?
Yes.
When working with lasers, it is very important that you wear eye protection because otherwise you can permanently damage your eyes. But how do you know that you have the right laser safety glasses for the right job? Well, here are 3 things that you might want to take a look at. The first thing you want to take a look at is the laser's wavelength, the laser power level and optical density, and the last thing is the visible light transmission, also known as VLT. So the first thing you need to know is the laser's wavelength. So laser, just like regular light, can come in a bunch of different colors, and it's measured in nanometers. Now it can either be visible or invisible, and it comes in these 3 regions. There is 1 ultraviolet, which is 100 to 400 nanometers, 2 visible, which is 440 to 750 nanometers, and 3 infrared, which is invisible, and it's from 750 nanometers to 1 millimeters. So how do you find your machine's wavelength? Well, you can check the machine, and sometimes it'll have a plate on there with the numbers inscribed on it, or you can check your manual and it should be in there as well. Now, when you're looking at your numbers, you want to take a look at the minimum and the maximum number. Now, this can range from 288 nanometers all the way up to 10,600 nanometers. Next, you need to know the power of the laser. So the power of the laser will determine the optical density that is required. So this will block a certain amount of wavelengths from entering your eyes. Now this number you can also find either in the manual or on a plate mounted on the machine. So lastly, you need to find the VLT, or the visible light transmission. So this basically decides how dark the lens is. So it decides how much light will still pass through and how much light you can still see. So the higher the VLT, the more light passes through. So you want lenses that can have the highest VLT possible, because if the VLT is too low, a filter might block the beam that you need to see, and the lenses are too dark, so you can't see what you're doing. So get lenses that have the right VLT. Now, glass lenses usually have a better VLT, so you might want to take a look at glass lenses. So once you have all of these numbers, you can put this information into our website. The search engine will then narrow down the choices and show you safety equipment that matches. If you're having trouble finding these numbers or filling out this information on our website, we would love to help. Just use the chat option on our website or give us a call.
Thank you, Effie, for finding that. I think one of the most dangerous aspects of the engraving, I guess it's not probably the most, but a very dangerous aspect of the laser engravers is what you can do to your eyes if you're looking at that without any protection. So I asked Effie to find something in relation to our meeting tonight, and having something just reminding us that light is dangerous if it's of laser strength is a good thing to keep in mind. That being said, I'm going to lead right into our discussion tonight. And tonight we've got David Stallings, Kevin Neelley, and Ann Mellina, all who have recently purchased laser engravers and have been experiencing the fun and the trials and tribulations of those products. They're going to kind of give us their overview of the products they have, and what they like about them, and some of the limitations, and hopefully you'll walk away tonight knowing a little bit more about those and whether they're an item that you might want to pursue or find more information on. At the end, after they're done, I'll offer up some time for any questions or anything you have. But during the presentation, if you've got a question, I'm sure they wouldn't mind if you want to throw it out there and not wait till the end. So that being said, I'm going to turn it over then, David, to you. I believe you're our leadoff man tonight. So David Stallings, thank you.
If I don't have screen sharing, I need it. And we see, are we live with a PowerPoint?
I'm seeing your PowerPoint screen now, David.
Okay. Well, effectively,
You're there.
Let me kind of center it up on my screen so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, well, good evening, everybody. I hope we find this an interesting topic. I found it interesting, and I thought it was something I could improve my wood turning with, because I wasn't satisfied with my soldering iron stamp that I made up. It was just one of those electrical things, and I just never could get what I considered a good mark, and part of it might have been the mark. So browsing on the internet, as I'm prone to do, I came upon this particular device. And what struck me about it, this laser had, I thought, enough power to be useful. And secondly, the design was such that it appealed to me, because effectively all the laser components are up in the top of this little cube. And this shows you what I got for 89 bucks. This was the actual copy of the eBay that I bid on. So this came in a box, and I considered it my early Christmas present. And so I've had it since December, and I've been very pleased with it. A couple of things to bear in mind, it has a safety shield. The little green screen that you see there on the right center is just screwed onto the front of it. And I wish you'd had it on all three sides. And you get a power supply, and you have a USB stick that has software for both the PC and the Mac. I'm using mine on a Mac. I've had it on a PC. It all works about the same. And they even send you a little screwdriver to put it together with. And they also sent along some pieces of wood. Now, this is a no-name brand. As best I can discern, it's most likely the IMSMA variety. And so what is it? Well, of course, all in the center of it here is the laser itself. It's a heat sink. What I liked about this one is that the gimbal, the laser, and all electronics essentially are mounted in the very top. And it has two channels. I don't know, for the X motion and the Y motion is a single channel. And effectively, there's a little fan on the back of it that helps cool the laser. It's 3 watts or 300 milliwatts, 3,000 milliwatts. And effectively, it does have a little bit of focal adjustment, although I've not messed with it. So I basically want to apply this to do lasering that is in the plane of the base, that is at the very bottom. You see the little tabs here on the bottom where it sets on the surface. And effectively, it's just elementary. You plug in the power pad that comes with it and hook it up to your PC and off you go. Whoops. Now then, what do you need besides the laser? Well, you need a support, obviously. If your bowl or your whatever you want to laser is big enough and is in the pretty close to the plane, you can just set the thing on top of it and center your image and off you go. What I did was just built a little upside down bookcase and drilled a 6-inch hole, I think, in the base of it, so that I was going to bring whatever I want to laser up into the bottom here through the hole in the bottom of this little thing of the base that I made. Let's see. What is there? The software that comes with it, as I say, it's either for the Mac or Windows 10. And what you need is essentially a design. You need to have an image that you're going to laser into the base. And this particular laser supports JPEG, JPG, PNG, BMP, and DXF files. And on the screen that when you load the software, there are these command things over here which says disconnect the device or connect it, import the picture, input text, which you can actually type from your computer into the screen. Obviously start, pause, and stop or control points for moving the laser. And then the black and white, obviously, they do have a grayscale that they use, and I have not done anything other than use the black and white. There's a power adjustment, and there is a depth adjustment for engraving. And bear in mind that laser light really doesn't necessarily have a distinct temperature. It has energy. In other words, your rating of the laser is in watts or milliwatts, as in this case, and effectively the temperature of an object that's being irradiated by the laser beam will vary depending on its reflectivity, depending on its absorption. And so when you talk about laser temperature, it's really inappropriate in the sense to say my temperature of the laser is this. It's actually the power of the laser is how many watts concentrated into the dot size, and that's how 3,000 watts goes a long way when you put it in a dot less than a pinhead. And then other words, the laser positioning, you want to be able to move the beam around before you start, and scaling the image, you can scale it here on the bottom by doing a drag the slide and fill up more of the screen and then get it centered. And that's the tricky part. And then following up on the safety minute here, safety first, no direct viewing of the beam. Now the laser beam can damage vision, and wear correct lenses for laser in use. Those are just fundamentals of the thing. Bear in mind, it's not only you looking at it, but if you have something reflective, that's where the likelihood of something going awry with your getting exposed to a laser beam, because the energy is reflected from bright metal surfaces, or if you think about the mirrors, you see laser setups where they use the lasers to, redirect the mirror and focus it. So effectively, I don't want to scare you with my picture there, but the important thing is wear the proper lens for what you got. Now then, you need to have some method of creating your graphic image. And I just showed an example here that I did in Inkscape. Inkscape is a good program for the Macs. I can't say much. I haven't used it on the PC. But essentially, you want to translate your message into a simple image file for the laser engravings. It's obvious you're using this to mark your product or the product of your wood turning, and I chose to use my mark around a circle effectively, and that's a little tricky sometimes, finding software that will give you a circle of text, and I used a spiral since that's goes from the start to the finish. So let's see. Effectively, here's the setup. You got the Mac, you've got the little bench top I made. You have the laser light on, and you're looking through the green screen. And the reason I showed this was just to give you the idea that you could prop things underneath of that. And the color on the screen is interesting in that they chose to show you how much of the image has been lasered. And you see at the very bottom of the created by image, there's a couple of black letters. So it's not quite done. And effectively, center stage using frame motion, that is, use a frame to show you the outline of your laser. And I'll see if effectively here, we're just looking at where the boundary of the laser is being projected. And that, so you're free to move the image on the screen or move the object. Moving the object's a little more intuitive. And then here, when it's burning, what happens is you're, again, looking through that green screen, and it's in the process of lasering that image that you saw on the computer. And just a little bit more of that here. I'll show you how I supported a little object I recently turned out of Redbud, and it's just a glass underneath of it that put the base of the object in the center of that hole that I told you I had cut in that, and effectively that's all there is to it. If I can get my mouse to cooperate here. We'll just show a short frame, but now I'm not looking through the safety glass, and here we are looking through the vision, and you can see where the bright spots are is lasering into the surface. And on the right is just the results after it's all done when viewing through that port side. Let's see, we're getting close. And then on the computer, it comes up and says, engraving completed, and you want to turn the laser off, and here's the results of that object. And so the net result is essentially my worst case engraving has been about 8 minutes to do a little larger surface. And I'm happy to share my experience with you, but I think it's the best $89 I've spent in a long time. So I'm happy to turn it back to Keith or whoever next is up.
Kevin, I think you were going to go next. Thank you, David. That was interesting. Makes me want one.
I'm gonna stop sharing now and give it back.
I have a quick question, David. How are you able to center your item underneath the or in the frame or the bed?
I just typically put my safety glasses on and I look at where it is and do the frame centering and judge it. I'm not real keen on getting it dead center, but it's just a trial and error. Essentially, you don't want to have a trial here and burn it, but you could put a blank sheet of little dark paper or tan paper and actually, burn it and see what they confirm where the center is.
Okay, so is it the laser or is it a separate light or something that marks where the center is so you can like put it over a dot,
Well, it
in the
does
center?
frame centering, does the boundary condition. So you're judging 4 corners. Where are those in relationship to your surface?
Okay. And does, if you're really burning something big, I mean, does it smoke and fumes in the house, or are those exhausted outside, or does it smell like you started a fire in the house?
It's a whole lot less than a little incense burner would be
Okay.
for a 3-inch thing. Now, obviously, I have a little concern on some toxic woods, just exactly what you get for your trouble when you burn it. So if I had a piece of maybe cocoa burr or some that I know to be toxic wood, I'm not going to have it in the house.
Okay. And how deep does it burn?
Walnut smells, so when it's burned.
Is it burned deep enough where you're able to like fill it with
Yeah, you can get, I would say, upwards of 50 microns, so that'd be, what is that, 50 ton? Well, that's about a 32nd to a 16th of an inch. And I don't turn it full power for depth either, because it will get on a thin wall vessel, like a bowl that's a little too thin, you could burn through it.
Okay.
Could
So a lot of
you-
it's kind of trial and error.
That's it.
Could you use that to your design in making a piercing?
I would think so. Now, you could get into some variation on dark versus light colored wood, because reflectivity can get into the picture, where you don't get the energy transferred to the wood. But I haven't had anything that I've tried that it didn't burn.
Okay. Thank you.
But don't try aluminum, because it's reflective, and secondly, you are not going to burn it.
Okay. Can you cut with it?
I would not try it. I didn't buy it for that reason. I cut it to burn images. So if you want to cut something, buy a commercial laser and go in business.
Okay. I didn't know if it would do that or not.
It will cut through. I mean, thin wood for sure. Also,
Mike,
wood airplane wings would burn out, no question about it.
I think Mike's thinking about the saber light sword from Star Wars.
What about tongue lasering?
I'm sorry.
What about tongue lasering?
I'm not sure I follow your question. Sorry.
I follow it. Let's try it at my house, Anthony.
Yeah.
We'll let you be the first volunteer.
Oh, not me.
Oh,
I think you just volunteered.
It'll only hurt for a little while.
Kevin, I think you're up.
Okay.
I had one question before that. Have you tried it on acrylics?
If it's clear, you would be able to get some acrylic. If it's colored acrylic, I'm sure it'll burn.
Okay. You just won't melt it or something like that?
Yeah, you're not going to melt it. It'll char. If it works, it'll char.
Okay.
Again, that's another one of those trial and error things where you try it on a piece of scrap stuff first to see, and then you can set the power setting so that you'd have the engraving but not melting it.
There's a lot of questions I haven't tried to answer because I bought it to do, and it does it.
Okay. Good.
You ready for me? There we go. I got another camera I'm going to use that shows my setup. Oop, that didn't show my setup. That does. I'm gonna make that screen a little bit bigger. Having a little trouble here.
I think you had it.
Yeah, I thought I had it too for a second. Okay. I'm gonna leave it like that. Can y'all see my other camera?
Yeah.
Okay. This is my desk, and this is my laser engraver, just like David's. And the only difference is mine cost $110, and I have not a no name. Mine's Wayne Lux. And when I was buying mine, I couldn't find the one David had with no name. I found a whole bunch of them with a name on it, and the price varied quite a bit from $100 to several $100s. And to me, it looked like they're all exactly the same. So anyway, I bought this one for $110, and it, for all intents and purposes, it's exactly like David Stallings. So what I've been doing with mine is different than David's. I have been making these pins. I'll hold that up to the camera. Been making pins for the Mayfair event and for the Irish Fest. And I'm making necklaces. And what these are, they're laser engravings of a Celtic knot that I've colored in with different color magic markers. And then some, like, of course, you have to have Kiss Me, I'm Irish for Irish Fest, and it has a pin back on it. So I bought a bunch of pin backs and necklace bails and made a whole bunch of stuff. And what I found out was that it's, like David said, it's kind of hard to center. But I'm gonna show you how I centered my stuff. If I get one piece of a disc centered, I can make 5 or 6 of them afterwards, and those are all centered exactly. Whenever I change to a new picture, that means I got to start finding center all over the place again. So anyhow, if you can kind of see this piece of wood I have, I mounted my laser on a piece of wood, and I put a hole in the center. And I thought that was going to be the center of where the laser prints. It's not. Laser prints somewhere else. But I can change where the laser prints so it centers on this exact same area every time I print a duplicate. And I noticed that the laser is printing just slightly high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make the next one more perfect. I'm going to put a new disc in there. I'm going to put my laser back. And I'm going to share the screen and show you how I change the center of the laser. Okay, can you see my desktop and the laser program?
Yes.
Okay, well, this right here, mousing around the picture, that picture is the picture that I want to engrave, and it's almost perfectly centered. But if you can't see the disc I made before, but I'm going to use one of these arrows right here to slightly move where it's going to laser engrave. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to move it down just one click. You see that thing move? Did you see the picture move a little bit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll move it up. I'll move it back down. That will center it. So the next thing I do is I just hit start, and it's going to start engraving. Okay. There's the green screen in front would keep my eyes from getting damaged by the laser beam, but the other three sides are wide open, and you can see on the picture it's getting red. You see where the red mark is? Can you let come through on your screen? The red mark shows where the laser has already cut. So that's how fast it's cutting. And the next thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to stop this a little bit. I'm going to show you how I get drawings. I got these Celtic knots free off the internet. I went to Google and I searched for Celtic knot drawings, and I was able to get, I can get hundreds and hundreds of Celtic knot drawings and drawings of other stuff too for free. As long as you're not selling them, it doesn't matter. In fact, for the Mayfair event, I've got some pictures of horses because that's what the event is, donations for horse riding. And I thought that might be a nice thing for the event. So I'll stop this, and I'm going to click on import pictures, and this is the directory I keep all the pictures in. You see how there's a couple horse pictures, and there's a number of different Celtic knot drawings, and I'm going to show you how I got them and how I took them and made them into these little square representations of what I want the laser to print or laser to engrave. So I am going to I'm going to stop sharing just for a second, and I'm going to bring up my internet browser. Okay, I'm going to start sharing back again. Okay, the internet browser, and I'm gonna search for Celtic knot drawings. Okay. All right. Images of Celtic knot drawings. You can see that Bing or whatever it is has found a bunch for me. So look at all these.
Jeez.
There's hundreds of them, literally thousands maybe. And you could get drawings of almost anything if you search for it. So I kind of like this one right here. You see that one right there that my cursor is circling?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to show you how I take that and manipulate it so I can use it for a laser etching. Now, I'm not downloading it because when I download it, it changes the size. There's probably trademark violations I'm going to do. I don't want to fool with that. So I'm going to do something really stupidly simple. If I can see it on the screen, I can steal it. So I'm going to print screen. Each of your keyboards has a thing called print screen. It puts whatever's on that screen into something that you can paste into another program. So what I'm going to do is I printed that screen to memory, and I'm going to use it. All right. I'm going to hang on for a second. I'm going to open up Paint. Paint's a simple program that almost everybody has. And I'm going to share the screen again. So I'm just showing you how to take a drawing for free off the internet from Google. So here's Paint. And if you use a Mac, I don't think you have Paint. You might have something similar, but this is on every Microsoft machine. There's free paint, so I can paste that screen onto.
The FBI won't be knocking on my door in the morning, will it?
Only if you sell it. You can take anything you want off the internet. In fact, when you're looking at something on the internet, whether it's a movie or a picture, it's on your computer. You're not looking at it on the other computer. You're actually downloading it on your computer anyhow. So I'm going to show you how to use it for your own use. Okay. So I like this picture right here. So I'm going to.
Did that tattoo hurt?
What's that?
Did that tattoo hurt? I see that. The three-leaf clover, it says tattoo on your screen.
Yeah, I'm going to show Anthony how to do that tomorrow. Okay, you see how I selected that picture? And so what I'm going to do is copy that. Then I don't know how computer guru-ish anybody is, but I'm going to make a new paint and I'm going to paste it. There it is. You got it. So I'm going to make the drawing slightly smaller, and then I'm going to save it to the directory that I used for all my Celtic knots. So File, Save As. Documents, laser engraver, KC Woodturners. Got to change that to JPEG. It takes a little bit of effort to steal something, you know that? So it's there. So I am gonna go back to import pictures, and I'm gonna import that one that I just stole. I can't even find it. There it is right there. Now here it is on my laser engraving program. I want to make it to the size I want. I know the size of my little disc, and it'll be about 30 millimeters. And I can center it, and I can get started in printing it. I have to actually find out where the laser is going to print, and I'm gonna go back to my other camera and show you how I see how to center the picture. This is almost the last thing I'm going to show you.
So that tells you down the lower left corner how long it's going to take to engrave that?
No, that's the size, Mike. It doesn't. There's nothing that tells you how long it takes to engrave it.
No, it said time cost, 1:22 seconds.
Oh, that's how long it took to engrave the last one. But I stopped it before it finished. Now that here I am right here. Can you see that picture of the laser? I'm going to go off this screen and start the frame positioning. I'm not sure if you can see this, but you see the light? It marks out a square that the laser is going to want to, it thinks that's where you want to print. And if you don't want it to print there, you move it. And you can probably, I'm not sure if you can use these buttons, but you can use the buttons to center it. I gotta move it some more. forgot. I have to stop frame positioning and move it. I'm going to move it up. I move it to the right, and I'm going to start frame positioning again. It's
Kevin, we don't see you now.
You don't see me? Oh, okay.
See your picture. There you are.
You see it now?
Yes.
Something about Zoom. When I do certain things, it knocks my video off. So you can just barely see the frame positioning light. It's not the laser light. It's just a light that's exactly going to be where the laser is going to cut. And it's almost exactly where I want to print at. So it's kind of a nuisance getting it zeroed where you want. It takes a minute. It's that kind of nuisance. But once I get it zeroed, I can print this button, and then I can print 20 more buttons that are exactly centered the same. So that's not as nuisance as it could be.
So it's the image, Kevin, that defines where the center is going to be?
No. Let me see if I can't go back to that share screen thing again. I'm going to stop this. You can see the image on the footprint of the laser. This area, the square, it's about 4 inches by 4 inches, and that's what it'll print. I printed something that was that wide, and it does a good job. But you see where the drawing is. That really has nothing to do with where the laser is going to print. The only way you know where the laser is going to print exactly is use the frame positioning, look at that light, and see where it's going to print or where it's going to etch on what you have in there to etch. So you might think from looking at this drawing, the laser is going to print at the very top or end of the laser area. It's not it. It's almost visually, it's exactly in the center of the platform. That's where I have my little hole that the disc sits in. So I know that sounds pretty complicated. It's not that complicated. The first time you do it, you might do it wrong, but the second time you do it, you'll do it perfect. There's a very quick learning curve.
Kevin?
Yes.
I think I've figured out why that is.
I'd like to hear that.
The laser positioning stepper motors don't have an absolute index that the computer can interrogate. It just knows that 2,000 steps will give me 4 inches. And if it's been run over to the edge, it starts from wherever. So it's all relative to the stepper count. And if you spend a grand more, you could get a device that said, hey, I want you to go to 0, 0, or 1,000. And so, it's a consequence of not having an absolute decoder or encoder on the thing. But that you've done it exactly the way I would do it or have done it. And I like your idea of putting it on a board with a hole in the middle of it. That's neat, but that's what's going on.
Well, that makes sense. I was going to try something else, but only at the last resort. I was thinking of actually grabbing the laser and physically moving it.
Bad plan.
I might lose $100, but I'd have an idea if it worked or not. But so if I wanted to spend another $300 or $400, I could save a minute out of every laser setup.
Yeah.
So it's $300 worth 1 minute of my time.
Hey, Kevin, something that Jack mentioned and I use daily is a snippet tool that's available from Windows 10. It's just an available tool. And you pick that program and it allows you to go out and window exactly what you're wanting to snip out of whatever. and then paste it wherever. So you would never have to go through that paint program. You would literally have an image that you grab and you just poke it down, snip it. SNIP-IT, I believe is what it is. But if you go down to where it says type here to search on your bar at the bottom of your computer and type snip, it'll bring up snipping tool or snippet. There's two different tools, but they both do the same thing, and they just give you a one click to pick that you're going to snip something, and then you just go and put a square around whatever it is you want to clip, and then open up whatever program you want to paste it into, and it'll paste it right there. So you could go directly to your laser program probably, or no, you can actually save it as a JPEG from that snip is what you could do.
And that will be perfect. That I will use that.
Save you a step.
Oh, okay. Great. Yeah,
There's hundreds of ways that you can do what you just did. You do a way that works for you and it's great, but there's different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, yes. This is the way I decided was the easiest for me.
That's the way to do it.
Snippet. I think I'll use snippet.
Yeah, once I started using the snippet, it's like I found all kinds of applications, because I'm going out on the website and grabbing furniture images all the time to give my clients information on things that I'm suggesting that they buy, and it's just a beautiful little tool. So try it, you'll like it. And I think Ann, this is our showstopper here. Ann Mellina is gonna bring in the tail of this presentation and wrap it all up. So Ann, you're on. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see. I'm going to share my screen and pull this up. Let me see right here. Well,
you have permission to share.
Okay. So what I've got tonight is the way I've been using the laser, which has been different than what they're doing. I started out using this Trotec engraver at the library makerspace, and it's wonderful. I mean, it will do anything and everything, and it's fast and it's great. But it's also, I think it was either $20,000 or $25,000. So it's not something that we can have, but we can go to the library, and they're very helpful and can help you do things. And I've learned a lot from going over there. One of the things that's good about it is that it's big. I mean, it's deep. So I think it's maybe 20 by 24, and you can engrave maybe something that's 7.5 inches deep. So it's really nice. Okay, I don't know why. Hang on, let me turn that off. Okay, so here it shows you the inside. Also, it uses Corel Draw, which not everybody has. One of the things when you start with a laser is that you have to figure out what settings for what kind of wood. So what I did was I did this burn chart and figured out what settings was going to burn to the depth that I wanted. Also, I bought another laser, a smaller one that I have here that's called an Emblazer 2. So that's what this is here. And it can do a lot of things that I'm still learning about, but a lot of what I'm going to show you tonight is stuff that I've done at the library. So anyway, on any laser, or a lot of them, you need to kind of find out what the settings will be by your machine and your wood. Because if you go on the websites and different places, people say, well, what setting do you use for this? And everybody says, it's just different. It depends on what your machine is, on what kind of wood, if it's acrylic. So again, this is trial and error. So here's one of the first things that I did was, this was a dish that I engraved, and then I went back and I painted it. I've done some borders, which, you can, on the program that I use here at the house, you can go in, you just import it. What I do is I have a Mac, and I will right click, copy something to Photos, and then I will import it from Photos into the program that I use. And then all I have to do is click another button and it will trace it for me. So then I have that vector image that I need. So here's a different border, different one here. Okay, on this one, you can, this was one I was just experimenting with, and you can cut through on mine. So that's 3 millimeters that I was cutting through on that last one. So you could actually cut out those hearts, or what I want to do, and I haven't done yet, is to cut out the hearts and then take maybe a different kind of wood and then change it out so that I might have a light colored dish with dark colored some sort of border on it. This piece here is also about 10 inches tall. My bed on mine is 15 inches by 19 inches. The library is 20 by 24. I can do text here. Let's see if I can get it to go to the next one. Okay, here's another one that I engraved and then painted. Same thing here. And these are all images that I got off the internet. This one was engraved deep enough that I filled it with milliput. Same thing on that one. And then I like to do little sayings and things.
And when you're painting, does the laser cauterize it so that the paint doesn't wick?
Okay, when I first started doing it, I mean, I kind of more like stenciled it when I did the paint so that it didn't bleed out. But one time I did it, I must have had it too hot because then it got sticky when I peeled off the tape. But I haven't done that in a while. This was a little magnet that I just turned for a friend. It's got a magnet on the back. Okay, these are from the permanent gallery. I mean, small stuff. Okay, this was a cutting board that we just imported their brand and did it. These were 12 by 12 squares that had artwork. And then we just put a message that was around it. I did a nameplate for my son, and that's probably 8 or 9 inches. Let's see what else. Okay, then I took a cutting board and then just put that on there. You can also do photographs. And I'm still trying to learn how to adjust the colors and everything so that they look right. Somebody wanted me to do one of these King Charles dogs. And then this is just stuff where I was experimenting with it. But most of this is from the library, so anybody can go if you've got a library card. And they're helpful. Now that I did on mine, and that didn't take any time at all. You can also do pencils and pens. I was just seeing how small it would go. And this is a train that I got the file off of one of the laser sites. And so I took it over to the library, cut it out. It took about 15 minutes to cut all of that out, but they didn't send the instructions or a picture as to how to assemble it. So it's still sitting on my table because I haven't done it yet. Also, the library has a rotary tool so that you can follow the curve of a cup, or this was a wedding goblet. This was an aluminum or metal cup that I did it on. And then this is just like the little round deals that you were working with, Kevin. Okay, so then that starts over. But the difference between the library and what I have, and I'll show you a picture of it in a minute because I forgot to take a picture of it. The one at the library is big, it's expensive, It's a CO2 laser, which is more powerful. It has the rotary tool. It uses Corel software, if you're familiar with that. Mine uses a different one. I'll talk about that in a minute. If you want to use the laser at the library, you have to go online and sign up. And it's been my experience, they have 2 lasers over there. And during COVID, they've only been using one. So it's been hard to sign up. But if you can sign up, I'd sign up for 2 hours, especially when you first start going over there, because it will take.
That's the laser library?
Yes. Yeah. So that you can get some help and actually accomplish something. But they're very helpful over there. On my laser, mine's called an Emblazer 2. It's made in Australia. And it retails for, I believe it's $2,000. Now, I bought a used one, so I didn't pay that for it. But I mean, it's a step up from the $100 ones, and it can do a lot. I'm still learning how to do it. The disadvantage is that it has a limited depth to it. So I can do platters in shallow bowls or things that are relatively flat. I can't do the bottom of a bowl that's any more than a couple inches. So that is a drawback on it. The software, one of the programs that it uses is Lightburn, which is similar to Corel, but it's much more intuitive. And it's, I think, so much easier to use. Also, on the focusing on mine, the way it focuses, it says, well, what is like the thickness of the mat? And then what's the thickness of the piece that you have? And then it focuses it for you automatically. Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun learning how to do the lasering stuff, but at the same time, it's kind of frustrating because, like the guys were saying, it's centering has been a challenge on the one that I have at home. It's real easy at this one that's at the library. But here is a picture. Let's see. All right. That's the one that I have, and it's about 24 by 28. It's lightweight. I can pick it up. I could put it in my car and bring it down to the shop. You know, you have to hook it up to your computer, but I use it on a Mac. You can use it on a PC. Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing what else I can do, but you know, life keeps happening and I don't get to spend as much time on it as I want, but that's kind of what my experience has been with the lasers so far.
I'd like to make a statement. There are 2 different kinds of graphics. There are bitmaps, and that's what those $100 ones are doing. And that the one at the library is a vector graphic program. And what it means is you can resize things easily without ending up the little jaggies, you know, the jagged shapes. And there's a lot of other things you can do with vector graphics, but I bet that's at least in part the difference in price.
Well, and mine is bigger, and the program that it comes with is, I mean, from everything I've read, people love it. I mean, because it is powerful, but it's not that hard once you get the hang of it.
What do you save the file as? What's
I've used, is it DFX, JPEGs, SVG?
JPEGs. So it's a bitmap.
Okay. I mean, there's a whole bunch of files that it can use. And I also found a program online where you can convert, like when I was using the laser at the library before I bought mine, I had taken all these files and pictures, images, and things that I was going to use and converted them into Corel. Well, Lightroom won't take Corel. So there's a program called Zamzar, Zamzar, and you can take a file, put it in, and convert it to whatever file format you want. In the free version of it, I think you only get 2 or 3 images a day, but you can also get you can buy it. Anybody else have any questions on my part? Or did I put everybody to sleep?
Not at all. Love seeing all the products and things that you've been doing with it. I think it's opened up some new avenues to design capabilities, possibilities, quick gifts. You know, that's the thing I see is, wow, wedding gift would never be bought again in my life, I think.
Yeah,
So,
you could make a wedding goblet and then put the couple's name and date, like the one that was on there. Yeah. Or the 4 pictures that were painted that had a message around the outside. Those were painted by Bill Paulo's grandkids, and then we lasered engrave on the outside. And like the cutting board that had the big logo in the bottom, that was also a gift. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think it just opens up the realm of possibilities. Kevin did a great job of showing how you can take a simple item and produce something fairly quickly that would be an easy grab at a cheap, inexpensive cost, at items, and you can gear it by capturing the right images. You can gear it specifically to the people you're trying to sell it to. It's kind of cool that way.
I think that the horse idea is great for that event.
Oh yeah.
I think that's good. Yeah.
David, I'm with you. I've been using a wood burning tool to put my mark onto things over the years, and trying to perfect it still after about 3 years of doing it. It's like, wow, that laser burner would be a lot easier. So it would probably be worth that investment to do something like that. But
that was how I actually started, is that I had put my logo. I came up with a logo and went to the library to put it on started putting it on the bottom of all my bowls. And I didn't even include that in my presentation. I forgot about it.
And then once you see that, it just opens up your mind to, well, then if I can do that, then I can do this.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I was wondering, Ann, on the platters where you had the borders around the circle, how hard was that to center up and keep centered on your piece?
It's on like the one platter that I'm thinking of, the one about, I don't know, it had like 3 lines around the outside. Those I actually did when it was on the lathe.
Okay.
But like
the hearts.
Okay, on that one, because I don't know enough about the emblazer to be able to get it centered exactly. I just did the moving around thing. But at the library, if you use that program and that laser, you can actually take the laser, move it exactly right where you want it to be in the center, and then it will just do it for you.
Then radius is off at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can pick wherever you want it to start, but I always start with it in the middle, and it does it automatically. Yeah.
Fun toys for us big boys and girls. We like to see those fun toys like that. So anybody else got any questions for Kevin, Ann, or David?
I have one for
What's
Kevin.
the challenge?
I have one for Kevin.
Okay, go ahead, Larry.
You did one of the Celtic knots that had different variations of tone to it, or gray and black and such. How do you vary for that, or does the program automatically take care of that?
The program doesn't take care of that automatically. Let me share the screen again. I'll show you how you might be able to take care of it. And David just touched on that a little bit. And it is contrast ratio. That's and the discrete engraving. My screen's kind of messed up. I can see because my laser's disconnected. But discrete engraving will do grayscale. So if your picture's like a photograph, or if it has real dark lines and light lines, or something like, I hold this up. There's an American Association of Woodturners. I made that using discrete engraving because there's some dark lettering and there's some real light lettering. And so to answer your question, Larry, I think this can do that, but it doesn't do it automatically. You have to tell it what you want to do.
Wait, you had a Celtic knot there that had 2 or 3 different shades of gray or black, and since it engraves the whole.
Are you looking at something like that that's been hand colored in?
No, it's not that one.
Kevin, I think you also use different colors.
I did. Like there's some of these that have different colors. I lasered and colored in the knot part with different colors. And one thing I found out.
It wasn't colored and it was more open.
Like that?
No. Oh well.
Well, didn't you say that it would do grayscales? Did somebody say that?
It will do grayscales, and that's the discrete engraving.
Right.
Click on that, and I think that you move the contrast ratio, change that. I think that'll vary the difference between the light and the dark. But I have not experimented with that other than this one thing. That was going to be the next thing I was going to do. But
I've got a question for Ann.
Okay.
Hey, Ann, that one at the library, do you think that you would cut about a 1/4 inch of box elder or basswood? Cut it all the way through?
I doubt it.
What happens if you send it around a couple times?
It might. I mean, the only thing I've seen people cutting is like 3mm plywood or birch, something like that. So I've not ever seen anybody cut anything very thick.
Okay.
But I mean, you could call and ask them.
Yeah, I've been over there. It's really fascinating, and like you say, they are extremely helpful. I just haven't taken any wood over there yet to try out.
does it have to be 1/4 inch? Can it be 1/10 of an inch? Because that's what 3mm is. Can it be?
Well, it's part of a musical instrument, and the keys need to be where they should be, close to about a 1/4 inch. It may be possible to just cut half of that, maybe 1/8 of an inch, and then glue them up. Either that or go to the scroll saw, but laser cutting would be so much faster.
I would say to probably do 1/8 of an inch without too much trouble. You might have to laser them twice, go once over, and then do it again. Because if you try to get it all in one thing, it might burn them up. It might burst into flame or something. You know,
right?
Too much heat in too small an area at one time. But if you let it cool off and do it again, you might get through it. You might get through your 1/4 inch. I think you could stand a little bit of experimenting, see if it works.
And even if it charcoaled the outside edge of the pieces, actually, that would actually be pretty neat.
Really? It sure might do that.
Let you put a little block of dry ice in it, you wouldn't have to worry about combustion.
That's like a pretty cool thing to do.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks, Ann, Kevin, and David. And Ann, you're the headliner, so I'm going to let you call the challenge for next month based on our demo tonight.
going to refer that to Mike. He
All
knows
right,
what-
Mike.
What?
That's the buck.
Oh,
He was sleeping.
Kevin, we were talking about, I mean, I think a good challenge would be having everyone just show an example of how they sign their work. Whether you use a laser or a pen or a wood burner or.
And if you don't have,
We did
if you don't have a mark, you can make up your own mark, right?
Sure.
Yeah, if you're not signing your work, you ought to start. It's not
Yeah.
art unless it's signed. If it's not signed, it's craps. So sign your work.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta go sign a couple things.
Someone told me that once.
Hey,
I use
All
a
right.
gallery.
Mike, I think it was you.
We should be able to have a big challenge next month then. All we got to do is show how we mark our projects once we're done, right?
Kevin, you forgot to put in the whole thing about if you don't have a logo, you'll design one and make them maker's coins for $1,000 a piece.
Oh, well, okay. Daniel, I like that idea.
Chris,
Yes.
I have a question for you about Snippet. Is that a Microsoft program that's in like Windows 10, or is
Yes.
it something
It's a
freeware or
window.
something you get?
I think it is a Windows 10. It's just available in Windows 10. So I don't
How do
know
you
if
find
on them. Do you have a little box down at the lower left-hand corner of your screen that says type here to search? It's near where you'd pick your settings.
Okay.
Or there's a
go-
magnifying glass, one of the
Yeah,
two.
magnifying glass.
Okay,
that
yeah,
says
yeah.
Type here to search. Just type in snipping tool or snippet, and it should bring it up as an option. And then you just click on it, and there it is.
There's actually an
Okay.
update, and it's changing to called Snip and Sketch. So if you just type in
Yeah.
Snip, it'll pull up the options. And it's super simple to use because you click new and then you just select the area of the screen you want to take the image of, and it takes that. So it's super easy to use.
That would be real useful.
Yeah,
I didn't know
I
about that.
love
It
it.
is under Windows accessories if you're looking for the location of it. It comes with Windows.
Windows
thing.
accessories?
Yes.
I use it when I'm putting together the PowerPoint presentations. I use it and I go snip it and grab images that are in Kevin's emails and plop them on because it's a lot easier than the copy and paste kind of thing even. So if you find it, you'll love it. Try it out. And Daniel, yeah, I keep opting back to the old style because I'm used to it. I haven't went to the snip and sketch. They keep trying to push me there, but I keep opting. So there are a couple of options there, but it's a nice little program. All right, I'm gonna keep this.
For those of us who use Macs, it's just screenshot. You can take a screenshot and then you can vary the size of it and bingo, you got it.
You can also do a command shift 4 and put a box around what you want and it'll copy it.
Command shift 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks,
All
Larry.
kinds of ways.
Thank you, Larry.